Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Called meeting to order. As usual, we'll go directly into executive session, not to exceed 30 minutes. I need a motion, 25 minutes for administrative, whatnot, and 5 minutes personnel.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session, 25 minutes for what?
Administrative,
And 5 minutes personnel.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're out for 30 minutes. Thank you. Here, come back to order. Would you please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, we come to you, thank you for this day, the beautiful weather that we've had. We ask that you guide and direct us in all the things we say and do throughout this meeting and our lives so that it may benefit the association as well as its members. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
As the board had a chance to look over minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Financial report, Mike?
You had a chance to pick up the financial report when you came in. Looks pretty good overall. There are 9 categories. 8 of those categories were better than last year. That includes snack bar, golf course, the other category, administrative, bathhouse, pool, general maintenance, and miscellaneous. And last year, the total for last year was 173,000 negative, and this year it's 60,000, almost 61,000 positive. That's all I have.
Manager report, Trish? You're on.
Assessments for 2025 were sent out November 1st. They're due March 1st. All the newsletters will be sent out by the end of this week. We started getting some of them in the mail at the end of last week. On December 5th, our other pump truck went on Purple Wave for auction. We sold it for $17,500. We are continuing to move forward with foreclosures. We have collected $24,868.76 in past due assessments through our lawyer's office this year. Our annual meeting is January 25th at 9 a.m. at Bunker Hill in Mound City. I would like to encourage everyone to come out and sign up for a committee. That's all I have.
What time's the meeting, Bunker Hill?
9 a.m.
9. Old business. Nobody? Okay, new business, 2025 budget. We was presented with the budget during executive session. Board members had a chance to look it over. Any discussion or motion?
I make a motion that we approve the 2025 budget as proposed.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Okay. Reed Childress. Yes, sir. You're on. That'd be great, but you don't have to. You speak up. Stand up and speak up.
Yeah, my name is Reed Childers, Sugar Valley. 6 months ago, I'm on the architectural committee. 6 months ago, a building permit was applied for that raised the issue of livestock on members' property. Over the 6 months, I know there's been some discussion about it. It's my understanding that the board is either reluctant or unwilling to write a rule or regulation that prohibits livestock, and I want to understand what the reason for that is.
Go.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I thought you was going to talk about that.
No, I agree.
According to the attorney, we really can't do anything. Is that correct?
I think that is the given viewpoint. Reed has done considerable delving into the issue, as well as Lori. Is she here? No. Yes. So I think the board believes their hands are tied with regards to legal representation. And
I think our bylaws and our covenants give us the language that we need so that we can use to write a regulation. So let me read those to you. The bylaws, Article 6, Association Purposes and Powers, Section 1, Paragraph I. And these are the purposes and powers. Paragraph I, insofar as permitted by law to do any other thing that, in the opinion of the Board of Directors, will promote the common benefit and enjoyment of the residents of the property. That's in the bylaws. In the covenants, Article 7, Section 1, there's a lot of verbiage, but I'll cut to some language that says that the architectural committee or the review committee, height, material, location, same shall have been submitted and approved in writing as to the harmony of external design and location in relation to surrounding structures and topography. I don't think livestock fits with the surrounding topography, and whatever other word is in there. Covenants and bylaws are written in very general terms, purposely, to give the HOA the power to further define what that means. I think our attorney is wrong. I think our attorney is afraid to do anything that may get challenged. I encourage the board to look at our bylaws and look at our covenants, because I do believe we have the power to prohibit livestock on people's properties. I don't think anybody wants horses and cattle and hogs on the property next to them. That's what, it smells, brings flies, and the crap and the urine will eventually leach into the lakes.
Reed,
Our responsibility, I'm sorry, Katie, one more thing.
go,
It's
yes,
the board's
absolutely, sir.
responsibility to step up and do something on this. It's ridiculous just to say we can't do anything. I think our attorney is wrong.
I agree with much of what you said. We actually have rehomed our goats, and I actually disagree with some of what you said, but I agree with your logical reasoning on that, if that makes sense. Could you please restate your first section 1 paragraph in the bylaws, please?
Of the bylaws, it's Article 6, Section 1, Paragraph I. And this is purposes and powers of the association. I says, insofar as permitted by law to do any other thing that, in the opinion of the board of directors, will promote the common benefit and enjoyment of the residents of the properties.
I think that's really fair. I agree that we can make a ruling, but I think when you rely on in the opinion of, it gets muddled. But I would actually look to,
Well, when we talked to our attorney, I mean, you know, he was pushing us away from this deal completely, and talking like we didn't have the power, you know. Totally opposite of what you're saying is that we do have the power. You know, so if we write something up and we go to end up in court, you know, where are you gonna end up, you know? Keep denying permits or whatever person has to do on a piece of property, but,
How do you deny?
and then a way to get something wrote up, that's gonna satisfy everybody is gonna be a challenge.
What happens to those?
We
that
haven't.
already have them?
And we haven't got it wrote up. Pardon me?
What happens to those that already have them if you guys write something up that denies them? Do they have?
Well, we don't have anything wrote up, so nothing happens at this point.
I think that's something that gets.
That's something down the road, that's a lot of what
Get
is.
past the hurdle of are we gonna do
Yeah,
something or
but-
not.
I personally agree that we have the power to write, but I think that's a difficult road to traverse.
I mean, we have, like, he's our lawyer, but we have every right to go elsewhere for advice if we choose to.
Absolutely.
We can go elsewhere and get another opinion on the matter and see. I mean, is that, Tracy? As long as it's not gonna cost us an arm and a leg to get some information on it,
You can
just to
get
see
free
what,
legal counsel.
see what his, you know, another
Hold on.
lawyer's thought behind it would be. I mean, I'd be willing to go that route. I mean, I'd be okay with that if everybody else is.
I am.
I believe that Joe actually talked to two
I
other
think there
attorneys
was.
regarding this. And you have to also come into, there are other reasons that people can come up with to have animals. So then it opens us up to looking at legal reasons. So he talked to two other attorneys, I believe it was, conversed on it, who are really into a lot of the HOA stuff. Because when you get into HOAs, and you get into legals, and you get into any animals, for people, it gets very hairy, and you want to open that, and it depends on how far you want to push it, and more than likely the HOAs will lose.
I think I know one of the issues you're talking about. with the
Right,
timeout.
yeah.
That's a
So-
whole separate thing.
Yeah.
That's a law that you have to comply with, even though you've got a rule that says something.
Correct.
That's a whole other thing. That doesn't mean you can't have a
That is
general
what's
rule
gonna
and
win right there.
regulation.
I think that's what's gonna win, is what you think. It will win.
I'm sorry?
So anybody can state that.
No,
that's what I'm
they
saying.
gotta have documentation. They gotta have.
But
They can get the documentation, that's the unfortunate part, you go to any doctor and say,
Right.
Okay.
and I believe it was 2 other attorneys that he talked to, and that's where it was, that's not a can of worms you wanna touch. Come to it when it comes to it.
We're open for help on this.
Yeah.
We're open for help on this. I mean,
And we're not against what you're saying.
not against what you're,
Yeah, I mean, if you,
Has anybody talked to him about the,
one at a time, please, quiet.
has anybody talked to him about the article in the bylaws and the article in the covenants?
Reed, I even went to the fact that, to tell him that, our covenants say that you can't have waste flowing into the lakes. Like, if you allow hoofed animals, that's what it's gonna be. And he said, no, that we couldn't spin it off on that either. I mean, those discussions have been had. I mean, we've had these discussions with, that was a very upset conversation I had with him. Because I was pretty disappointed with it. That was his response, so.
I have 2 other things.
We have one more in the back.
Just a suggestion, Russell Gray, Sugar Valley, just a suggestion, while you're looking at this matter, maybe something that would make everybody happy in the interim. Is it possible to contact the USDA and find out if it's logical to have those animals within so many feet of living conditions of living area? That may be your right.
Can I speak? The Lynn County just rezoned and deemed Sugar Valley as a recreational lake
Community.
community. And so that's where the argument lies, and actually, thank you for that suggestion, because that's pretty highly logical. Also, this is coming from someone who owned goats, just so we know. But Lynn just rezoned, and we both don't have a procedure for grandfathering in anything, nor do we have the county support.
Yeah, the county does not permit.
The county won't support us for that.
Residential lake community. They do not permit it.
And to Candace's point,
But Darren Wilson has told me
He
my things, I
had
don't care.
conferred with 2 other.
yes, absolutely.
That's what I keep hearing.
I know my HOA, my personal home HOA, we went through this. We had rabbits. Somebody brought their rabbits in. And we literally lived 2 blocks from the county line. Now, those people brought their rabbits in. Joe happened to be our attorney as well for it. So we kind of went through all this. So with that part, and he rechecked when this all came up, they had rabbits, they moved in, they had 8 rabbits. Our allowance is 2 animals per household. Our city is 4 animals per household. Well, we supersede the city by 2 for our rules. But then it came into that the city allowed these people to have a permit for 8 rabbits. We had to wait until those rabbits left or died because nothing was in there. We did say livestock, we did have hooves, we did have it, but nothing was defining rabbits. There was chickens, there was pigs, and there was cows.
Well, shoot, I have 6 kids, so.
And animals come into the fact of, it's a cat and dog per our city rules. Because people were wanting to go after gerbils and fish.
Oh,
People
dear
had their
Lord.
rabbits as personal using cat boxes in their house, so what are you gonna do about that? Then you have the emotional support animals, we ran into one of
Cats
those.
and rabbits aren't considered livestock, to be honest with you.
Depends on what you're using
The
them for.
state defines livestock.
Because Tanglewood up north just got somebody for rabbits and had them get rid of them because it was being used for food. And she was an, but
See,
we're talking about
and-
that.
Sugar Valley and Hidden Valley's rules and covenants, unfortunately not Tanglewood's, okay?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. So
Precedent.
we're just saying
We
we
don't
don't
really,
they went through this.
Here.
So
Okay.
it's a lot.
sorry.
I'm done with that issue.
Okay.
I actually have 2 other issues I told Tracy I want to talk about. Can I do that? Okay.
Yes.
I don't like
I said earlier, I'm on the architectural committee, so I know when building permits are submitted for projects. Over the past year and a half, I've raised to the attention of management, what have you, of at least a half dozen projects where there was no building permit. Of those half dozen, one's been resolved because they filed a building permit after the project was completed. I drove around this weekend. There's at least 3 projects going on, significant projects, none of which have filed for a building permit. So I just want to know, it's my understanding, I've heard in other meetings, that security is supposed to be driving around and looking for this kind of activity. If I can drive around in about 45 minutes and I see 3 projects going on without building permits, why is that not known to management and the board? And more importantly, what are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? I mean, this happens all the time. Building permits are not applied for. Projects are completed, and we just turn our head and continue going on down the road. So what are we doing about it? And why can't security identify these projects that are going on without building permits?
He has identified quite a few of them that we have put stops to. The others, we have sent out letters, we have implemented fines, and we have done the things in our realm that we can do.
Okay.
It's just a matter of knowing what the next steps are, but per our covenants and things like that, we have done the things.
I've been told that a notice goes out and then fees begin to get assessed monthly if they're not resolved. And after 3 months of that, a lien is filed against the property. Is that the case?
We don't necessarily do the lien as
Well, what
much.
do you do then?
Well, I mean, until we have something in place, I mean, we're just now starting foreclosures. And unless we file something with the courts immediately upon the lien, our liens are only good for 30 days.
Okay.
And we would have to reapply for it and pay for that lien every single month to keep it in place.
Okay. Well, here's what's happening. People know nothing's gonna happen. I mean, we threaten, and then it dies because some other fire crops up over here, and now we're fighting that fire. People know that this association is not gonna do anything. And so it continues. There's no teeth in anything that we put out there. There's just no teeth in it. Which gets me to the next thing. We've got people living in their RVs full time. What are we doing about that?
I want to take the lead on this, if that's okay, President. I want to take the lead on this, if that's okay. We are only as strong as our county enforcement. Meaning, I hear you, I agree with you, it's not okay. And we, as a board, are limited on what we can do, but we have 1 new commissioner being sworn in January for Lynn and 2 in Bourbon. So we are only as strong as our county that is willing to enforce our codes and infractions. While I agree with you, like, what do we do? I'm sitting there right there with you. What do we do? It's not that we have someone that can go on and just like knock over their construction, but how do we enforce? How do we?
It's resources to continue
I think-
every single month.
But I agree with you, the frustration is real, and the reasons are real. I think that we are, as residents, members, are gonna have to take a much higher interest in going to the county and saying, why aren't you enforcing our codes or infractions or the XYZ?
It's not their job, it's your job, you're the HOA.
I don't have a law degree and we do not employ law enforcement.
One at a time, please.
Thank you.
Could you speak up a little bit? I know, you're so,
We do not employ law enforcement. And so while I agree with Reed that we have so many issues, we also have to depend on the county to help us because we do not have law degrees and we do not employ law enforcement. Is that correct, Mr. President?
But Katie, the county is not gonna get involved in enforcing the HOA's rules and regulations.
I think that's fair. I agree with you. I think,
But we have, in our rules and regulations, we say that you
I
can't
know.
live in an RV full-time.
I know,
Forget about that.
I know.
That's what I think the HOA needs to do, because, as I said before, people know that nothing's gonna happen. I think the HOA is gonna cost money, but I think the HOA is gonna have to take a stand, pick your battles, and take a stand, and if it ends up in court, it ends up in court. And that's gonna cost money. But when people start seeing that, oh, I think they're serious, this is gonna end up in court, I think maybe they'll start paying attention to it.
I don't think you're wrong.
It's just,
Really, I think you're.
I don't think he's wrong at
I
all.
think you're right on that.
Yeah.
I think the financial part of that is what has hurt the association when it comes to enforcement about that. Because when you get into the legal aspect of it, then you're talking thousands of dollars and not just sending them a letter in the mail. And so I think that changes things. And so when you want to enforce these things and you want to go after these people and you want them to follow rules, there has to be money behind that to allow us to enforce
I
that.
understand.
And that's the bottom line. I mean, if we had an unlimited book, we'd take our day.
That's his job to do that.
One at a time, please.
Now things may fall off that don't get done this year because we've chosen to.
Well, and if you look, I mean, last year, we worked on the past due assessments, and this year we're foreclosing and that. So we're making progress, it's just probably not as fast as everybody would like.
I was just gonna piggyback on what Dave just said, because I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, the empty threat comment that Mr. Reeds just said, it's not empty threats. I believe that the management, the board, they have been doing everything they could to get past due assessments, and I wanna thank for that, because those aren't empty threats. They said it was gonna happen, and so they are moving forward on things, Reed. I mean, it was what, how much in past due assessments, Tracy? Yeah, almost 25. 25,000. I mean, how many did we get last year? Anybody know? Does the board know?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like
Wasn't
maybe.
that
How many the year before?
Nothing here
Nothing.
before.
I mean, can you guys all agree that this is a direction, right direction, that we're getting past due assessments?
Okay. Cindy?
I asked one time before about how you say that people have fines when you fine them. Why can't that be put in the newspaper and embarrass them? We talked about that once before. Some of the counties allow, like if you don't mow your yard, they have it in the newspaper that you're gonna get fined.
I want this to go down in history as the time when I agree with Cindy. Write this down. Write this down. Listen,
I mean, that's legal, that's legal.
New business. Linda? Merle?
I'm Linda Murrow, Hidden Valley.
Quiet, please.
I'm sorry.
Can we be respectful of each other, please, and let each other talk one at a time until it's your turn? Please.
We live on the west side of Hidden Valley, on the south side of Hidden Valley Road, that runs east and west in front of our house. I do need to add that I cannot speak about speeding here at Sugar Valley because I don't live here. I can only speak about what I know, and that's at Hidden Valley. I would have to say, though, I'd be very surprised if you don't have a lot of the same problems here that we have over there. We see a lot of speeders going by our house. We also have security cameras. They face the entire road in front of our house from where the east road comes, or from the east road comes in and the west road goes out. And so we see a lot of speeders. We can tell a person is speeding in some cases because our camera is supposed to go off, and if we get, it's a camera that you get the whole view of the car going by, okay? It's supposed to come on in 1 second. And if all we see is the tail lights of the car going around the corner, they're speeding, okay? Or the big dust cloud that they leave behind, they're speeding there too. So it is, and you can tell just standing by the road, when you see somebody going by that you assume is going 20 miles an hour, and then you see the next guy come by, you know he's not going 20 miles an hour if he's speeding. Many of the worst offenders are residents. They're guests or workers, and we know who you are. I'm not going to point anybody out, but we know who you are. Residents need to make sure that their guests and workers are aware of and observe the speed limit that is. I posted something on Facebook the other day because this guy was going so fast, he almost didn't make the turn. That's going way too fast. And they are sharp curves, but you're going way too fast. I mean, I really don't want somebody in my house in a car. I want them to slow down going around that corner. Our roads are narrow, they're dangerous, we've got hills, we've got blind corners. And everybody really needs to slow down. At this time, our roads are a bit safer than they are in the summertime when the population increases. When that time arrives, there are many ATVs, UTVs, and motorbikes on the road. First of all, individuals really need to make sure they've got stickers on their off-road vehicles so that we all know that they really belong. We have a lot of people, we're fairly close to Kansas Rocks. I don't know if all of you know where that is, but we have a lot of people that come over from Kansas Rocks. We don't have any way to control them because they don't pay any attention to speed limits either. But you can control the people that you know, your workers, your family, your friends. At the present time, we have no way to see a license plate because all we see is the car going by this way. I'm hoping at some point one of my cameras can be set to pick up license plates. Also, we need to stop allowing children on the road who do not have driver's license. That is against RHOA and it's against state law. Yeah. And parents need to realize that when you send that kid off in that UTV or on that motorbike, as soon as he's out of your sight, he's going to start acting irresponsibly. A lot of the speeders that we see in the summertime are kids who have no business being on that road. We also realize that a lot of you feel like we ought to be able to call the sheriff's department. That is an unrealistic choice. Bourbon County covers 635 square miles, and they're a good distance to Fort Scott. By the time they get out here, they're going to be gone. And it's a waste of their time. They have way too much to do to worry about somebody speeding down a road in Bourbon County. We had to work pretty hard to get the sheriff in, and I know that there's problems with getting other Bourbon County people into our, other employees of Bourbon County into our lake. But we worked hard to get the sheriff in, and we finally got it accomplished. And he does, just so you know, he does come in. They will come in if there's an accident. They will come in if he is serving an arrest warrant. And they do cruise through periodically. You may not see them, but they're there. We need to basically take it upon ourselves to solve our speeding problems. First of all, if you are speeding on these roads at Sugar Valley or Hidden Valley, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And you need to take it upon yourself to slow down, not to mention the fact that a lot of people are complaining that the roads are terrible. A lot of the reason the roads are terrible is because some of you that drive great big pickup trucks are destroying our roads. We do have a lot of, if you are working with someone who's going to be delivering gravel to your place or work on your property, let them know we have a speed limit. I know we also have a problem with delivery services. I know UPS sometimes speeds, and FedEx sometimes speeds.
Yes, ma'am.
Always.
Sometimes the mailman speeds, but I'm not going to say that about the mailman. He's a pretty good guy. We need to be sure that all off-road vehicles are operated only by people who have license plates or have licenses. Let's get the kids off the roads. Can we, encourage your neighbors, if you see them sending their kid off to drive somewhere, please ask them not to do that. If one of these kids gets killed on one of our roads because they're out there speeding and somebody else is speeding, we're going to have a real problem with the association is probably going to get sued. We can't afford what we're doing now. We certainly cannot afford to get sued. Also, finally, I'm going to mention something that has been mentioned we were on committees for a long time, and we mentioned speed bumps before. I know there's a lot of people who think they're not a good idea, and I know that there's a lot of people who say they could be dangerous. Well, there's ways to make them safe, and if we put them up, we could be saving a life, because if it slows drivers down and it slows down the people who are on the lake, that could be a huge, huge, important thing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Kathy?
Kathy Biggerstaff, Sugar Valley Lake. Do I need to be talking that on my left?
Speak up.
All right, I'll try to talk about it. If you can't hear me, let me know. So basically, I just put together a little package, request for consideration, mainly just to work with the board and hopefully just pass along some information that I have come across in my analysis and OCD digging into things. I am a member of the codes committee, so a lot of the information that I have ascertained has been doing deep dives into, there again, our covenants, restrictions, and bylaws, and trying to enforce our rules and regulations as well. So the first request that I have is basically a request for resources to legally update, file, and incorporate our covenants, restrictions, and bylaws. Those have been updated, so they were developed in 1973, 1983, and updated again in 1996. And the language and the purpose of those does not meet the current HOA laws or societal norms. So my request would be that we put together either a committee, a team, work with the board, and we find, much like Becky was saying, we find someone that specializes in those HOA type scenarios to get them, at least give us a bid, an estimate. What do we need to do to bring our information or bring our covenants, bylaws, that type of thing into the 21st century? And I'm going to try and paraphrase some of this because I have a lot of information here. I would like to just remind people, I know there's been a lot of conversation about this assessment, raising our assessments and things like that. But I'm hoping that people understand that. So this development, the Sugar Valley Lakes Homeowners Association, and then in 1996 when they incorporated the Hidden Valley Lakes, it was never the intention that this was a cheap place to live.
1996. Is that when we incorporated?
When we were incorporated, yes.
Yeah.
They was incorporated. So it was never intended to be a cheap place to live. It was intended to be a residential / recreational community for people to enjoy. So I really would like, it's one of those things where you don't get to pick and choose where your assessments go. That's why we have a board. That's why we have all of the amenities that we do have. I have some recommendations later that might make a little more sense. But I'd also like to point out that through years of neglect, and you actually mentioned this previously too, years of neglect, years of turning a blind eye, lack of resources to enforce, many of the restrictions and bylaws have been disregarded by owners and residents, like our speed limit. So I would like to develop a plan to get us back in compliance, get us back to at least those original documents that we know that we had in place all of this time. And I'm not 100% sure what it will take to get us there, but I would at least like to put together a team, or there again, get everybody rallied around getting back to that place where we all want to be. I would also like to point out that after more than 5 years, 2018 was the last time we actually had a foreclosure auction. So it's been over 6 years that nothing has been done about people not paying their assessments. So while we're talking about increasing those assessments, we also have to keep in mind that between the last 6 and 10 years, you've had many people that didn't pay their assessments. You had many people that didn't, the assessments were raised when they could have been based on our laws, in the CPI. So I know it seems like there's money issues now, today, but this has been building for a very, very long time. And so I'm hoping that now that we're getting back up to speed on assessments and foreclosures, and I also mentioned Article 3 of the bylaws with regards to assessment, non-payment, and including foreclosures. I'm just asking for the same action with regards to Article 3 of the restrictions, covenants, and reservations, which goes back to those rules and regulations that we talked about. So the other thing on my list is Lynn County support. I would like to request that we partner with Lynn County. So my taxes went up 300% last year. Guess what? So did Sugar Valley Association's taxes. So we need to get our assessments up to speed just to pay the taxes for this place. I mean, it's simple math. If my personal taxes went up 300%, and I do have some numbers that I put in the presentation for the board, but I think it's even more than that, because in the last year and a half, we've been selling lots like crazy. We've been selling places all over the place. So while Sugar Valley's ownership of all of these properties has decreased, the taxes have still, gone way up because of the assessments. I would like to see what is being done in Bourbon County for Hidden Valley Lakes. A delegation from Sugar Valley, partner, attend those commissioner meetings, and county get some people from Sugar Valley on the committees for the county. And I would again go back to wanting an HOA specialized attorney to look and see why a legal review, or at least get us a legal review of why a private lake community is excluded from those basic county services when the taxes that Sugar Valley Lakes Homes Association pay are the second highest in this county.
Agreed.
So I would, and like I said, volunteers, anybody, I would like to be a part of that, but unfortunately I'm employed by the county, so I cannot do some of those things.
So
I would love to be.
We do have a new sheriff, right, in Lynn?
Yeah, I have that up there.
No, I was just asking, good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my next point is that the codes committee, we have already partnered with the new sheriff, James Akes, and he has reached out to me and the codes committee and asked to be more involved. So he wants to attend a meeting here coming soon. We have also discussed, similar to what Hidden Valley has, or had previously, is that we put together an agreement, an understanding, and we give the sheriff of Lynn County full permission to patrol, to enforce, and to do all of those things that the county sheriff normally would do. But, you know, this is not, Sugar Valley Lake should not be a place for criminals to find refuge.
Thank you.
Absolutely should not be. So the sheriff's on board, let's get on board, and I'm gonna say this out loud, I've not said this out loud before, but when Hidden Valley did that agreement with the sheriff, who do you think stopped it from happening? Who do you think complained and didn't want it? Residents of Hidden Valley. Because now they were being held accountable by the sheriff. And I would like to make sure that we lay that out on the table ahead of time. We partner with the sheriff and we either get the support or we don't get the support. But you can't pick and choose again.
Kathy, could you restate that, please? Because I agree with you. Could you restate that?
You don't get to pick and choose?
God bless you. No, when we made an agreement with the
Yes.
Bourbon County Sheriff,
Yes.
then we are all accountable and under the same umbrella of
Yes.
the laws and statutes and restrictions for Bourbon County, and that's what you're asking for Lynn County, correct?
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And
But
the
she said there
sheriff,
that the Hidden Valley people are the ones that were against it.
No,
specific Hidden Valley people, because once the
Specific.
sheriff was allowed to patrol,
Okay.
Cindy, we were friends.
to people, they decided.
Hey, I
to
live
make it different.
We were friends like 5 minutes ago.
And then the last one on the Lynn County support is I would like to remind everyone that
Bless you.
Lynn County is experiencing the same issues that Sugar Valley has been experiencing through the past few years. Resignations, retirements, lack of legal counsel. They have not had legal counsel for almost a year now. Ability to attract and retain employees. We also, as a community, Lynn County, have had unprecedented drought, followed by 2 major flooding events, and it has impacted the infrastructure for the whole county. So I believe that if we partner with the county, instead of fighting with the county, maybe we can all help each other out, instead of just this back and forth, I pay my taxes and the county doesn't do anything for me. So let's maybe shift that narrative to, well, how can we work together with the county? And like I said, the sheriff is in. So we just, as a community, got to decide, are we doing it? Okay. So then I also, the members book that Reed also discussed has the bylaws, has the covenants and restrictions, has the rules and regulations, has all of that information. It's available in the office. If you need a printed copy, it's available online. It has been there this whole time. So what I'm asking is that the board, the employees, the residents, and the recreational folks, and there's some people like to call them weekenders, I don't like that term, because there used to be one, recreational folks, when this community was developed, when this community was maintained, this community was taken care of, it was a community of volunteers. And since I have been on a committee, I have seen 3, maybe 4 people that actually are all in when they volunteer and do something and actually do stuff. So I would just ask that people please go out, read those bylaws, read those covenants and restrictions, read what the role of your board is. It's all laid out. Read what the roles of the committee members are. It's all laid out. And read what your responsibilities are as a member of a homeowners association. That way, I think we could get a better understanding and everybody could work together. And the other thing I would say too is that the residential population here at Sugar Valley Lake has increased over 50% in the last 5 years. We have had even larger increases again in recreational purchases and ownership. Even larger. So I would ask that all the members, after reading the rules and regulations, Basically, just observe and abide by the standards of being a good neighbor. You know, this is a residential community / recreational community. So just be a good neighbor, a good person. I get calls all the time from people who have issues with codes, violations. And I'm like, we don't have a rule for that. You know why? Because I don't have a rule that says you have to be a decent human being. And so I would just request that people realize that. Familiarize yourself with the rules and adjust accordingly. Also, I wanted to point out that with that population explosion that we've had in the last 5 to 6 years, SVL resources, both Hidden Valley resources, Sugar Valley resources, the entire thing, they're maxed out. After years and years of neglect, and in some cases, intentional destruction of the homeowners association property, you have to acknowledge that's happened, and it's been years. You know, perfect example is the selling of our pump trucks. Those pump trucks were not cared for. They were not maintained on a schedule. They were falling apart. They weren't even DOT legal anymore. So what happened to all that money all those years ago when all of these things were supposed to be happening and taken care of, you know? Well, whatever, it didn't happen, and here's where we're at now. So let's move forward and try and, again, if you have knowledge, if you have resources, if you want better, and I take this from somebody else's, volunteer, assist. You know, let's get things back up to the standards that we all want to see. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take action. Not complaining, not yelling, not screaming, not pointing the fingers at people. If you want a better community, you have to be a better community member. Okay. So with that, all of that stuff, just a couple of things that I wanted to just throw out to the board that I have seen, I've done some investigation on and seen work in the previously. I do have the golf course, snack bar, and pool, which are the ones that I hear the most complaints about. You know, well, I don't even play golf, blah, blah, blah. You could actually investigate and maybe see if you can sell it, or you can manage it by a separate entity with a separate board. I have seen that work, where they just split from the homeowners association and have a separate, it's still part of the private lake community, but it's managed and funded separately. The next thing would be, and this has been brought up before, and I'm pushing for it, is create and maintain ID cards, as previously done at Sugar Valley for years. You had to have an ID card. When you paid your assessments, you got your ID card, so that you could prove that you're a member. And so if security or other members questioned why you were at the dumpster, on the beach, at the boat ramp, using bathhouses, all of the other common properties, that you must be a member in good standing. You show your ID card, you're all good to go. You know, no big deal. That is also that is also addressed in Article 5, Section 3, Part C, the definition of a member in good standing. So along with, as Rita's discussed and Kate has discussed, if you don't pay your fines that you get issued by the Codes Committee, you are no longer a member in good standing, which means you are not allowed to use the beach, you are not allowed to use the boat ramp, you are not allowed to do any of those things because you're not a member in good standing. So we have a way to enforce some of these things, but now we need to take the next step and make sure that we can prove that, first of all, you're a member, and then are you a member in good standing? Okay. I would also recommend that we hire, or at least consult with, under the direction of the state of Kansas, a certified lake manager for the management of all activities related to the use of the common water properties. I've heard people mention USDA, EPA, those types of things. I think it would be beneficial, if nothing else, to hire a consultant to help us with those issues when it comes to the common water properties. Just to make sure that we are not breaking any rules. Okay. And maybe buy boats so somebody can travel around the lake and check the ships. And then I would request a special assessment for the implementations of gates and monitoring systems to truly restrict the community as a private lake community. We tout that we are a private lake community. We are getting taxed as a private lake community. But it has not been very private the last 6 years that I've been there. So that would be one of the recommendations that I would bring to you. So.
Can I say something? So if you had a gate or something, that could be deactivated if you were not in good standards, right?
Correct. Absolutely, it could be. But
That's what happened at Tanglewood.
Yeah.
And even if the gates poses an issue for people, so one of the examples is emergency services. You know, if you have gates, people are very concerned about emergency services.
We have 3 more.
Number one key to having gates is the monitoring systems that come with gates. So you can see who's coming in and out, who's using their key, who's not using their key. I know in specific situations too, people are, you know, okay, so I'm on a deed, and so we're gonna do a trust, and we're gonna put 5 different people on this that are part of the trust, and so they pay assessments for 1 lot, 5 people, blah, 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 blah.
All right.
That, if you have gates and monitoring systems, and you have the key cards, you either have to pay an outrageous fee for your key card, or you have to deed your property to somebody else that you want to have that key card. So that helps reduce that whole 25 people paying 1 assessment in the situation. So, but that's just more information about that situation, about that request.
Okay.
Okay?
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Sandy?
I'm Sandy, I'm Sugar Valley Lake. I really like you. You should run for the board. I would vote for you if you want to just write your name in. I would vote for you today. My questions are directed only towards the Daves on the board, okay? I only want you 2 to answer. All right. Everybody else has a break. So I have a question about the January meeting. I want to know specifically if it is 20% or 51% of members that have to be present to vote for it to count. And if the 51% does not show up to vote, is the board making the executive decision? Because that is not exactly how it's supposed to be in the HOA law. So I want to know what is the game plan for the January 25th meeting if you don't have 51% of the members show up for the voting?
We'll go right back out with it.
What do you mean?
We'll roll it back out because the quorum reduces the second time we go around.
So we're gonna revote again
Yep, we'll
in
revote.
another month, or?
We are committed to this 100%. Here's the bottom line.
But if we all vote and we come in and say you get a majority of the people that show up, that
If we meet
come
quorum and it
here.
votes no, then we have to operate our association on the budget we currently have.
Great.
If it meets quorum and it votes yes, then we will operate on our new budget. If it does not meet, or if it meets quorum but votes no, the board fully has intentions to come back out at the lower quorum.
And what do you mean by quorum? What percentage are you going off of? Or can you?
The quorum drops every time we put this back out for vote. So if it's 60% this go around, it's like 30% the following go, and it just keeps reducing as many times as we go through.
But you still need a 51% vote.
The quorum changes.
You still have to have a majority vote of the quorum that's required.
Yes, the quorum changes, the quorum amount changes in that case, not the votes, the
Not the
quorum.
votes.
Yeah,
So the votes, I want a specific answer. Is it 51%?
20.
20, that's what I wanted to know.
20% is quorum, and if that quorum's not met, and then we roll out, the second meeting will be 10%.
But as far as the vote,
And state law does not let us drop any lower than 10%. That is the bottom line for the state law. I
The
would,
cost of living is 3.2%, and yes, it is 10% highest, but currently, right now, with the numbers in today's world, right now, on today's date, we're at 3.2% of cost of living increase only.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and I agree with you.
I'd like to verify something on this. This isn't
I just wanted to ask a question on the percentages.
but you brought up about the cost of living, and that has nothing to do with the vote. The cost of living
It does for
increase,
the
the cost of
HOA.
living increase has already been added to next year's assessments, okay?
So
The
that's
board can, the board
213
can.
or whatever?
the board
Respect
can
our
vote on
president,
that.
please, ma'am.
And the board already has voted on that. This is a vote by the people to increase the basis of the assessment. By covenants and restrictions, we cannot raise, unless it's voted by the people, we cannot raise assessments more than cost of living each year.
Correct.
But there was a lot of years in the past, through past managers and whatnot, where they did not ever raise assessments. But
But we should be penalized for something the board.
we are being penalized because we do not have the money now.
But
to
we as
operate it.
members shouldn't be penalized for that.
What's one of these deals, pay now or pay later type deal?
but
If we don't have the money to pay for it, then we don't have the
to
money.
that
to operate.
extent.
One at a time.
To that extent, as far as who's being punished, we're not happy with the roads, right? That's a big problem. How are we gonna get better roads when it's not in our budget to get better roads? If you look at the financials from this year, we spent $40,000 over budget on rock, and we're still not where we need to be. Where does that money come from? We need this increase. So in 1973, the association started with $50. Had the board raise the assessments every year as it was intended for us to be able to operate the association as it was, this year, they should have been 370. We're not even asking for that large of amount. Also, when you get your newsletter, there's gonna be all sorts of good information. We have a line of credit out at the bank where the association is in debt $187,200 that we pay $10,000 a year on interest. Now, that is something that I have adopted. We have not really used that because I've been trying to cut things. People are unhappy that we're cutting snack bar hours and roadsides aren't getting done. Well, that comes with me cutting maintenance because we don't have the money to use that. And we're at a position now, if we don't start making money every year and budget to make money, which I have for next year, the bank is gonna cancel that line of credit. And whether it makes me the bad person or not, I have a job to do, and I will be happy when somebody calls me and says, hey, can you come fix this road? To say, I would love to, but it's not in our budget, because if the money is not there, it's not there. I can't poof, we need it. And unfortunately, this is where we're at to get our community back up to par. And what's $100 compared to replacing 10 tires a year because the roads are bad?
Yeah, you got that one from me.
But I'm just saying, but that's,
You did, but.
yeah, but that's why the increase is out there. And does it affect me? Yes, I pay assessments on
So
4
we can
lots.
actually hire people that know how to do the road correctly.
We have been,
Amateurs.
we have been working on that. We have had county
I
and
only wanna talk to these three.
we have had county employees come out and volunteer their time and work with our grader and train them, and actually, until we had that flood, In the spring, our roads were better than they had been in a long time. We had that flood. Well, most of our rock budget had been used by then. Who would have known we would have got 14 inches of rain in 2 days? That happened, unfortunately, with the amount of money that we have, so we moved other things around and switched the budget like we could and ended up spending $40,000 over. At Hidden Valley Lake this year, we spent exactly what was budgeted for both lakes. Like our entire budget, because they hadn't been touched in X amount of years. But we're working on getting there, but this is what
We
we,
wasted a lot of gravel going off the roads, and we wasted so much money by not doing it right to begin with for years. I mean, even before you were here, Dave actually has been on the president board as long as I have been here.
and that is
He knows
why,
that.
and that is why we have reached out to the people who have been trained and to the county and have been taking them steps to get our people trained. That has been going on this year, but with the budget and the weather conditions, this is where we are, and I don't know any other way to say it, but I mean, that it is what it is. We're either gonna vote yes on this and get us in a better direction, or who knows?
Just to be clear, we have to fix our budget issues or we risk our line of credit. And if we lose our line of credit, there are some months that we operate on that because there is no income. And so let's keep that in mind when we're voting, that, you know, it's important that we keep the things that we have.
Before, I mean, for years,
We've had the line of credit, yes.
so, you
Can
know.
I just ask real quick, go back to the original question, we were talking about the quorum originally. So what is the quorum for that first meeting?
Okay.
And do we have to be there?
So, yes, let me give you those details. So for this meeting, the special meeting, and it's following the annual meeting, the quorum is 20%.
20%.
20%, and that 20% is of members in good standing. If you are,
Read the bylaws.
if you are past due on assessments according to the state HOA laws, then you don't get that vote. That vote's not counted, it's not counted in the quorum.
So the fact that the state says it has to be a 50% quorum, and our rules and regulations.
I will re-go over it with our lawyer and research it, but,
I'm sorry?
I said I will go over it with our lawyer and make sure that but we're gonna make sure that we're within the legal limit.
Okay, so when we have this vote, do we have to be there?
Yes, you have to be there.
Where is it written in our HOA that we have to be there to vote for that?
What about the proxy?
It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that too. So you either have to be there, or you can do a proxy vote to either the board or another member who is in good standing, but that proxy has to be present at the meeting.
How are you going to have this vote? How are you going to ask members to vote?
It is coming out in the newsletter. You should be getting it this week.
I'm sorry, what?
In our newsletter, there's a whole bunch of information on that.
Talk to her directly.
Okay. In our newsletter, you're gonna get information on that, all the details of it, what you need to know. And that is all going out this week. So you
Okay,
should
but-
be getting the newsletter. and
Okay,
it's-
but my question is,
Could you let her finish,
do we,
please?
is it gonna be for hands up vote?
No, it will be
Let her finish.
written paper ballots. So, in the newsletter,
Here, right here.
okay, yeah, see, I've got one sitting here too. So it'll have that information, the backside, but that is for proxy only. If you want a yes/no ballot, you have to show up to the meeting to get the yes/no, because for assessments, it is an in-person vote. So the only ballot that's going out in the newsletter is the proxy. And on the backside of the proxy, is a whole explanation on why we're asking for this to be the base pay. Also, keep in mind that we're voting for this to be the base pay in 2026. So you're not gonna get an increase for 2025, other than the one that's been voted on, that 223. This would go into effect for 2026.
And this would take the place of the CPI increase. So this would be the only increase you would see for that year.
Well, then how are we gonna operate if we're cheaper and we're already having issues with it, and this doesn't happen until 26? How are we gonna operate during 25?
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Okay. I mean, that's, you know.
I mean, I get that, and I wish that we could have gotten this voted in sooner, but we've already billed, and the amount of labor and stamps and things like that to rebill once again, and then people think that they've already paid, and it becomes very chaotic when you send out a second bill.
Okay, I was just
No.
asking.
Becca,
Yep.
Becca,
Oh, sorry. So can you guys tell us kind of what the assessment raises that you, or increase that you guys are asking for? Do you guys know, like, how much you guys are wanting, you know, is there a good portion of that that's wanting to go toward roads and golf course or hiring or anything like that? So
Give a breakdown of the
we kind of
budget.
know a little bit more, the members can kind of know what kind of improvements you're looking at for us as the members, I guess.
roads would be a number one thing,
Yeah,
but
and we just kind of want to see where is this increase going to, I guess?
So,
Is my
the
question.
increase would go towards roads and
Can you
maintenance.
pick your mic up?
We don't need that.
Like roads and then maintenance, roadsides, being able to employ enough people. I mean, we operate on very minimum employees for a large amount of land. But a big thing would be roads. I know a lot of people have concerns about the golf course, but the thing about our golf course is our golfers and our annual golfers specifically pay $600 to $800 more a year to use our golf course. So that is where the money goes that funds the golf course.
I didn't know, I was looking at the financials and I saw that there was a lot less spent on the golf course than on our roads, for sure.
Yeah,
When I was
so,
listening down the
but a lot of that is
financials, on the golf course.
paid by their annual golf fees and their daily golf fees and their golf cart rentals. So it kind of generates its own, because I know that's a big concern. But like one really good point here, as of right now, one load of gravel may cover approximately 500 feet of road. We have nearly 150,000 feet of roads in Sugar Valley alone. That doesn't even count Hidden Valley roads, which I don't have a number on that. One lot of assessments pays for 2.5 truckloads of gravel.
that's little truckloads, that's not
Can I speak?
10-wheeler.
During our mowing season, we burn through 73 gallons of diesel in just a few days to operate our equipment and mow roadsides and mow this. And, you know, if the dump truck or the bobcat or the road grader blows a tire, one lot of assessments doesn't even pay that repair.
I was just asking, just so we can
Yeah.
get more clarification on that.
What I wanted to address before Justin is that I wanted to extend this to you as well, is that we're gonna have to fight this, a lot of these things at the county level. And so I encourage you to attend all of the county commissioner meetings. We have one new one coming in, Ally and Lynn, and 2 coming in Bourbon. And we've already made good progress with one in Bourbon, who may be able to help us take care of our roads. And so I am encouraging you to attend, and I will gladly go with you.
I've been to a lot of them, and actually, I was
So-
on committees years ago, and for, what's his name, I got Darren,
Darren resigned. I know, honey.
He tried to do all the right things too, but as you can see, 2 years later, we're still here. So I appreciate what you said, because literally Darren said everything you said 2 years ago, and we got nowhere. We're here again.
You know what? I am agreeing with you. I'm just encouraging you. Let me speak and finish, please, ma'am. I'm encouraging you to attend further county commissioner meetings, and I would love to hear from people that are getting ready to run for the new HOA board members.
Okay, so Dave, we brought up the gates and the key cards.
We're so far from that, I wouldn't.
No, I mean, I'm open for, hey, it's my time to talk, so I'm gonna talk, okay? Because, you know, I'm gonna take advantage of this time.
So what's your?
It was brought up 2 years ago. I know we were working on that. I know this year's been a rough year for me. I haven't been here.
I think Tom Morelli was gonna look at getting some information on that, and I don't know that she ever
But I don't
did get
think
it
that, I
back
mean, I think the
information,
board
did
needs
she?
to be responsible for this, because this is something that us members need as an HOA, because we are not private. And like it was specified 2 years ago when Darren was here, if there's a kid killed on our road, or say my dad
Sandy.
hypothetically is killed, we're at a lawsuit because they don't own property out here. Just like the kids driving on the little vehicles that have no driver's licenses. That's a big problem. So gates are a big factor as an HOA, and I think it needs to be readdressed. And I agree with the key cards 100%. I know it's gonna cost money, but we thought about budgeting.
All great ideas, but.
And we already did a special assessment raise, what,
No, we haven't. No, we haven't done a special assessment.
because we were gonna do that just for the gates, and you had our votes at that time to do it. So I'm just saying we need to revisit the gates. I agree with you. I think you should run. I'm so sorry I did not catch your name, but she's amazing. It's the most I've heard out of a board member or non-board member in a long time, besides this gentleman that knew exactly what he was talking about. And I agree with the kids being off the road and the speeding. It's been addressed for 6 years. I think it's time that us members stop asking for help and the board starts doing something. Okay.
Thank you, Sandy.
I was gonna ask the board to touch on the line of credit again. Can we get the current balance of line of credit put on the P&L somewhere? Doesn't seem like a very accurate snapshot of the finances, if that's wrong.
You probably get that done.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so earlier, I think it was you, I've forgotten all the details, but mentioned that there was like, if there's been months where you don't have income, that you would maybe.
So our winter months, like right now, we're in one now, we have no snack bar income.
So
When you look at what our expenses are labor versus what we have coming in for income, it's very minimal.
So my question is, if it gets passed for the higher dues, would you then maybe go to monthly payments?
We're open, if this gets passed, we're open, and me and Tracy have talked about that. We're open for any suggestions. I'm a board member, I'm a member. I don't want to pay anything extra that I don't want to.
Well,
But I also,
have 14 lots, so.
yeah, I also understand that,
I think it maybe also might have, some of the people who aren't paying, if they could pay a small amount monthly.
well, and we've worked on those that aren't paying, but yes, we have talked about setting up something that it could be.
If you would see what these girls are doing in the office to try to get these people to pay, I mean, monthly or whatever, whether it be through the attorney or through foreclosure or whatever process it's taken, I mean, they busted their butts trying to get these dues collected.
Yeah, but Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody comes in and offers to pay $45 towards assessments one month, you're probably not gonna turn that down, are you?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean, that's,
That's what you're asking, right?
we need to move on through the new business. Yes, sir. You did.
I'm ready for that. Absolutely.
Somebody owns 14 lots, do they get 14 votes?
Instead of just.
It's a lot per vote, or a vote per lot.
So if there's a couple, you would get double?
Yeah, so like.
No.
this
One
is-
vote per lot.
Vote per lot.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Just real quick,
you can make your payments however you want.
And I understand this.
Quiet, please.
I understand this, county and we're separate. We pay a lot of money in property taxes. Are you saying that the county says, yeah, but you're private, so we're gonna take your property taxes, but we don't have to spend?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of riff in between there, yes, sir.
So basically, we're not getting very little from the county for our property tax.
Right. Correct.
That's the system.
Exactly.
Right.
Pay your property taxes under protest if you want to.
When are those meetings?
Okay,
The commissioner.
Mondays.
Mondays,
Tracy,
Every
we need to
Monday?
read this.
Every
I think I
Monday.
covered
every Monday.
Which one is it?
Okay,
Yeah.
we move on now to board member candidates. These are volunteers that are running for the board for next year. We have 2 positions, correct? In
Yes.
Sugar Valley Open, we have 3 candidates running. From Sugar Valley, we have one position
with 2.
with 2 people running at Hidden Valley. So we'll start with Sugar Valley. Quiet, please. Donnie?
Dave,
Yes.
you had 2 others.
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm
That's what I
sorry.
said, you guys didn't talk?
We're good.
I'll back up.
He's good, he doesn't want to talk.
Don't want to talk?
Or you
Do
gonna
you want to
talk?
talk? He's
Okay,
good.
they just-
I'm
they
sorry.
denied.
It's penciled in here and I'm trying to get through this.
It's late enough, and I got 2 hours to get home.
All right, Donnie,
Yeah.
where you at? There you are.
Okay, I'm Donnie Moats. I've
You
been
can put
with,
the mic on, Donnie. It's a switch on the mic.
Stop real speak to it.
hold on now.
That was good.
Katie, yes, hit the button on the.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. My name's Donnie Moats. I've been part of Lynn County since 1980. I've lived here at Sugar Valley for 12 years now, full-time. I'm running because I'd like to help make changes. I've already started a neighborhood watch for the past 3 years in my part of the neighborhood. We have an annual barbecue where we get to meet the neighbors, we get to know our family and friends, so we know who's at their houses when they're not there. I've been to the Lynn County Commissioner meetings. I've discussed the ongoing problems with the crime, the drug houses and stuff. I've even had a party this year for the sheriff's department. Well, we had a dinner, our neighbors cooked up a dinner for the sheriff's department, had them come out and visit. We talked to the main sheriff, the new one. He's put out his plan, what he wants to do once the new attorney gets elected. Once he gets signed in, what he wants to do with helping us out. So, I'd like to say, I'd like to make a change and help out here. That's it. I mean, we've had long conversations already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie.
Dave?
Dave, I'm not gonna stand up because I got a mic in front of me. Been on the board for, I don't know, 3.5 years now. Put my name back in the hat. I think we've seen some good progress. I think we've got some good progress that can be seen. I think we've moved in really good directions, and I hope I have your support to see us through the future. So thank you.
Russell?
Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone can hear me without the mic. We'll do this quick and easy because I'm sure you'd all like to get home and get to bed and everything else. So, my name is Russell Gray. I'm running for the board position again. Why I'm running is because I believe that each and every one of you brings something to the fight here. And you need representatives that are going to stand up and make sure that fight is heard. Whether you're on the Hidden Valley side, you're on the Sugar Valley side, whether you're a resident, whether you're a weekend warrior. I live in Leavenworth, but we're down here as much as we can be. And we want to make sure that this community continues to thrive. So I'd like to throw my name in the hat and hope that I can encourage you that I'd like to represent you as a board member and help push this community where it needs to go. Whoop.
And we got a write-in right back there.
Justin from Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley, been around the better part of 10 in October, we moved over full-time, Hidden Valley. My wife Misty's on the rec committee, try to be involved in the community. One of my ideas was maybe economic development, something for the long term rather than keep raising dues. And, probably gonna rely heavily on volunteers for that, which we have a pretty good base for that in Hidden Valleys. Hopefully we can get more Sugar Valley. And willing to listen.
Thank you. Jared?
I'm Jared Hanley. I live just east of Hammond on a small farm with my wife Angela's with me. I don't think I know anybody in this room, so I'm going to speculate nobody in this room knows me, with the exception of Dave. I hauled a water pump for Dave with Wes about 30 years ago to the state of Delaware. Yeah. So we were just kids then, so I don't know if he remembers me or not. But at any rate, Angela and I bought lots we bought one lot at Hidden Valley about 2 years ago, and then we bought another one next to it and another one next to that. So we enjoy the community. I've got a lot of experience sitting on boards. I've sat on the Fort Scott Planning Commission. I've sat on the Bourbon County Historical Society. I don't know if you know what a difference is between a politician and a public servant, but there's a big difference. And what I have found from boards this size all the way up to the federal government is unfortunately they get tainted with people that's pushing their own agendas and or people that are in the hip pocket of somebody else, and I'm too big to fit in anybody's hip pocket. All right. I'm willing to make big changes if that's what needs to be done, and this has been an interesting meeting. This is the first meeting I've ever been to for this group. It's been interesting. I find it very interesting that this association is over 50 years old and we're still addressing issues about pigs and horses. I would have thought those bugs would have been worked out about 4 decades ago, but nonetheless, here we are, and they'll have to be taken care of, and they can be taken care of. That's not a big issue. Sometimes hard decisions need to be made, and that's what I'll do. What motivated me was I'd like to, I guess my agenda, if you want to say, is I want to increase transparency and I want to decrease the negativity that's coming out of this place. There ain't nothing on social media positive, and it's really sad because, and I hear a lot of you talking about the way it was and the way it is, and with hard work, it can be the way it was, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. And I'm the Culvert Crew Supervisor for Bourbon County Public Works, so I'm very entrenched in Bourbon County. If your goal is to get them to help you with anything, you just as well quit now. And I work there. So, but I can bring a lot to the table about fixing roads and this and that. I know how to do those kind of things. They don't have any money either, so if you're looking to them for help, or no. You stand on your own or you don't stand, that's that. So you pull up your boots and you get it done. And I think we need to explore different avenues of maybe some revenue, generating some revenue, whether that be cell tower leases or whatever on, I don't know. I don't have agenda. I got 2 ears and 2 eyes and 1 mouth. 2 eyes for listening, or 2 eyes for looking, 2 ears for listening. God give us those for a reason. Do more looking and more listening than you do talking. And so bring it to me. Tracy got my number and email or whatever. If you have issues, I'll get on here and do the best job I can. I absolutely thrive on problem solving and challenges, and by God, I came to the right place. I think so.
You want to read that now?
No, we're not doing it.
There's a lot of people here tonight. There's more people here tonight that has been in meetings. We've been coming for the last several years, and there's a lot of people here, and you guys are introducing yourself as wanting to be board members. If you win or lose, you still need to come to meetings. Don't just come because you want to be on the board, and if you don't make it, then don't show back up. It is a community, and we all need to work on it together. And so, this amount of people, whether it's Hidden Valley or Sugar Valley, we all have issues. All our money goes into the same dang place. All of the bills get paid out of that money. If we don't have it, we all got to stand up and try to do something about it. Am I happy for it? Hey, I'm not that thrilled. But we all gotta work together, and there's a lot of people here, and it needs to be this plus more at meetings every month. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to committee reports. Go.
For the rec committee, Christmas, our dinner, sorry, Candace and Tammy is my counterpart. So Christmas was a really good spread. We had a lot of people attend. It was really good food. The holiday lights, the first annual, we had 6 entries this year. And they did the first, second, and third place. And with those, by bingo and by the rec committee, doing fundraising and collections, which swim and bingo and yoga and the chair yoga brings in quite a bit of money. We get a budget of $700 a year, and which I would love to have more, and thank you guys for raising it. We spent it on stuff. We did buy a lot of food and pay back to the community, but with the holiday lights and other things that we did throughout the year, Easter's a big one, that where people come to these events, these little events, fundraisings and stuff, that's what helps pay for those additional things and gifts and prizes, and like our cardboard boat races, and they have the
4th of July.
The 4th of July. I mean, you know, yeah. When we have the ATV, you know, UTV and the boat and all that stuff. That has all been donations from people, and then the office also helps donate on top of the committee helps donate. So again, it's getting out there. We need more people. Next year, please sign up. Tammy is going to step down. She's going to still do our yoga and the swim and the chair yoga and keep up with that. Yay. So, but we need more people involved. Everybody complains and everybody says we don't have it. And what little bit we get, we need more people. We need more events. We need more ideas. And of course, next year, I'm going to try a subcommittee, and we're going to try to do a craft fair to try to raise more money to get also our people in the community who do a lot of things, really cool stuff. So we're going to do that. We're going to try to do 2 next year. So please be on the lookout for that. Publicity committee, I'm on that too. I'll still be on that. We need more pictures. We need more volunteers. We need more ideas. Are we going to do the crawfish boil again next year? I know.
Early for
I know.
that.
I know. But that was a really good fundraiser that also paid back and stuff. The calendars, buy your calendars. Those are a big.
Let's get the calendars done first.
I know. And then beautification committee, we really didn't have anybody except for Tammy was in it this year, I think, right? Nobody signed up for it. The people that used to do it, they kind of retired. That it, you know, becomes physical. We need somebody to take up that, and please sign up for it because
You youngins.
yeah, I mean, you know, just simple. Or ways to fundraise. You know, we could have kids come together one weekend, everybody picks up trash and meets and collects and gets, you know, a coupon from something. We just need somebody on that committee to gear something, to do something, because again, it's volunteer work. It's still making our places nice. We need the walkways cleaned up, and that would be great to have committees and people help with that, because it can't all be dependent upon the money that we don't have, that we haven't been raising our dues. We need the money because times have changed, prices have increased over time, plain and simple. So basically, please, we need more committee members on a lot of committees next year. And again, the only way we can make a difference is if people actually show up and help instead of complaining about it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Codes Committee, just a reminder to everybody, the winter camping permits were due. Bathhouses are closed, and so we're gonna start issuing fines for not having your camper permits. $50 for the whole winter. That's a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to pull your camper off and put it in storage somewhere for the winter. So, just a reminder to everybody that you'll start seeing those violations coming out for not having your winter camp.
Do we actually get money from those?
From the violations?
Yeah, do we?
In some instances we do, and some we don't, and if we don't get the money for them, then we will continue to arrest them, and there again.
Put them in the paper.
If you are not a member in good standing, if you have a violation that you have not taken care of, you are not allowed to vote, because you are not a member in good standing.
Publicity committees, that just, we're working on the calendar, so if you guys have pictures, you can send us. There's an email out, posted on Facebook. Please send them in, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Can I ask for one?
You're on committee reports, Dave.
Is this a committee-related deal?
No, I'm thinking
Well,
about these.
let's hold off till open forum, okay? Let's get through committees.
Just one question popped in my head.
Okay, keep that thought. Any other committee reports? Nobody? Okay.
Okay.
Open forum.
So, I just had a question, because we did all these, HOA assessments, and you guys got $24,868.76. That was turned in on November 27th of this year, which is what, less than a month ago, because I don't even know what day it is. But what are we doing with those funds, and where are they being allocated?
Well, they'll go into the general budget. I mean, it's divided amongst the budget.
What do you mean, it's gonna go in the general budget?
Well, it goes into the general checking account, but it's dispersed amongst the budget.
Like the normal assessments would have been if they had been paid.
Yeah, it just gets processed as income.
So, no allocation, just a bucket?
Into assessments.
Well, it's allocated through the budgetary items, okay? Yes.
Is there any way that, like, sometime in the future, we can vote for something? Like, for gates, entrances? Can we do a vote for that?
You gonna have a way to pay for it too?
That would be where the vote comes in.
That's where the vote comes in.
No, forget the raises.
I mean, everybody wants a gate, but there's no money for
No, but I mean, if that.
gate or to maintain it.
If that goes through, then can we vote for something that needs to be done?
Damn boat ramp.
You know, it can be up for vote for where.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name's Craig Haley. I'm a new resident out here as of last week. I haven't been in any meetings prior to this, so I don't know what's been going on. I've heard a lot of talk. I work for the Lake County Sheriff's Office. And just know whatever I say is not the representation of what the sheriff's beliefs are, but I heard a lot of talking here about patrolling around here and what we can do here. We're kind of restricted here on what we can't do. We can't write tickets out here, we can't do a lot of traffic enforcement, but like people think we can. If you guys want that changed, then I would highly suggest you invite the sheriff and the county attorney to the meetings here, or have a private visit with them. If you guys don't have the sheriff out here, I know she said that she's talked to the sheriff. And I don't know what you guys talked about, and granted, this is not his representation here, I'm just speaking on my own behalf. But I can promise you, unless the county attorney's on board, there's lots of laws that restrict us from doing anything out here in the lake community and enforcing certain traffic laws. It's very complicated, and I understand people are very unknowledgeable about it. But I can promise you that we've been doing our best about coming out here and patrolling, at least here. I don't know what Morgan County does. Additionally, I'm not speaking for the county representatives, the commissioners, or the road and bridge department. They are already trying to cut and trim the fat on everything. Us going to those meetings and complaining about it is probably going to get us nowhere. They are not going to come out here and fix our problems here. They may assist, just like they have in the past, but I can promise you that they're not going to come out here and maintain these roads here unless this doesn't, this turns into public roads. So this is not going to be something that I would go down to the meeting and complain to them, complain to them about, because they are not going to come out here and maintain the roads. They're already having enough problems maintaining the roads they have in the county as it is, and finding the personnel to do it. So I don't know, and excuse me, I haven't been in the last meetings, and I don't know where you guys are getting that information from. Going to the commissioner's not really going to do anything, so I think that it should stay right here in this meeting, and that's just my opinion. Granted, I just got here, but I can promise you that going down there and wasting your time at the meeting, they're just going to hear what you say, and then they're going to say, well, sorry, you're going to have to go to your board, and you're going to have to talk about it then. So.
What's your name again?
How do you spell that?
So, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this.
I'm
I'm going to take this.
traffic enforcement here.
there's
Gonna
not a
take
whole lot
this.
we can do here. So, and the commissioners, they're not gonna try to step into a private community, and they're not gonna try to push their funds over here when they're already having enough problems on their own roads, so.
We just want our funds back.
Yeah, that's probably a better,
Can I just just respond a sec to that?
Katie's.
I'm going to.
Question, so if the HOA hypothetically dissolves,
He's not the person to ask that
I'm just
question.
asking a
Thank you. It's not gonna happen.
I'm not gonna comment because I don't know.
No, first of all, I want to thank you for your service and thank God for you. Yes.
So whenever we come down here, yeah, we can patrol them because the residents want us here.
Yes.
We patrol here and there's still minor things we can do, we can look into things, but I can't stop somebody out here for speed. There's no speed limits out here that are posted that are illegal for me to stop for. Now, if somebody's reckless driving, that's completely different. If they're throwing gravel and they're driving extremely too fast for the conditions, yes, that's something that we can do. It's very rare that we do that. Nobody's gonna do that in front of us.
Yes, so in Bourbon
They
County,
do it right out in front of me in my personal vehicle, but they won't do it in my patrol vehicles.
right.
The other thing is DUI. If they're DUI out here and we think they might be intoxicated, then we can stop them. But I want to make that very clear because a lot of people misconstrue what we can and can't do out here, and it makes it look like we drive by a problem and we're just ignoring it.
No one thinks you're driving by and ignoring, just so you know.
I was explaining to her. So
Okay, we don't think that. We have an agreement in Bourbon County that they can pull over, even though our speed limit signs are not up to code and don't look super
that's why I'm saying if
pretty.
you guys are going to do that, if you guys want that,
Yeah.
then you need to involve the sheriff and the county attorney because the county attorney is the one who prosecutes it. It's not the sheriff that prosecutes it. We're the one that can enforce it. But
Yes,
if
sir,
somebody-
I'm well aware. I am well aware.
I'm just making sure.
Could I please finish, could I finish what I was gonna say? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your service, and I'm sitting here trying to thank you and let you know that I've done a lot of research, and I've worked with Bill Martin, and I knew the previous sheriff of Lynn County, and have gone up there and done extensive talks with him and trying to get everyone coverage, and I know that everyone perceives this as public property. So I am not sitting here trying to talk down to you or negate anything that you're trying to say. What I'm saying is, we have an agreement with Bourbon. Thank you. We do not have that with Lynn, and I agree with you. We are not going to get somewhere by going to the county commissioners and complaining. Where I got with roads, can you stop and let me finish? Where I was going is that I went to the Register of Deeds in Bourbon, and I went to look to the agreements we had for maintaining roads. And Bourbon County does not have an agreement on file that states that our HOA will maintain our roads. That's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm like, hey, I went down, I did my research. I always encourage people to speak kindly, to approach respectfully, and to question, and then do your research. And that is where I got where I was at. And we may get our roads maintained. I am agreeing with you. And again, thank you, because I have a very high amount of respect for our first responders. So, thank you.
Well, just for the record, I can promise you that all of us in the sheriff's office want to patrol out here and enforce traffic laws. So it's not anything on our end.
We know. I know. Thank you. I know. Thank you. I do know that. No, we do not think for 1 second that you don't want to.
Thank you. Next.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Absolutely, thank you.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye.